Yo, I can't believe an iPhone can capture video like this. Big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. So last year when Apple announced the iPhone 15 Pro Max, one of the biggest marketing messages was the fact that this phone was essentially a cinema camera in your pocket. With this phone, we saw the introduction of Apple ProRes Log, meaning that this phone has the ability to capture video in the same style that movies are shot in. And this introduction of log video and the high dynamic range capability that comes with log formats was very exciting to creators like me who make a lot of internet media. The idea of not having to bring my Nikon camera or my Lumix out with me to create behind the scenes video or B-roll for this YouTube channel seemed very exciting. Now, like most new technology introductions, it took me a while to be comfortable incorporating this into my workflow. I was a little bit skeptical. I figured why change my ways, but last month I finally gave this a shot and I fully transformed my iPhone 15 Pro Max into a cinema camera. And in this video, I want to break down how I did that and also break down the limitations and the application of doing something like this if you're looking to create the best videos possible with your iPhone. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the gear that I use to turn my iPhone into this cinema rig. Now, realistically, you don't need any special equipment to take advantage of all the pro features with your iPhone in video. All you have to do is turn on ProRes Log and you have the ability to capture this log picture profile directly into your iPhone. Now, the limitations of this is mainly a storage limitation. Most iPhones, especially if you have lower storage, won't be able to capture a lot of this log footage. My iPhone is one of the higher storage iPhones, and right now it says I have 22 minutes of potential record time, which is plenty for me, but you never want to fill up your phone with these videos and deal with all the storage headaches that come with it. And that is the main reason why I elected to go with this more cinema rig setup. And to do that, I picked up this small rig cage. This is the Brandon Lee edition. This cage is an extremely solid metal material, and on top of that, it's a pretty cool green color. It reminds me of like the Green Goblin's suit or something. So one, this is going to protect your phone, and two, it's going to give you the ability to attach all types of accessories. One, you can easily screw your tripod mount into this case, and you can also attach these accessories that come with it, one of those being a magnetic ND filter, the others being these cool cinematic like arms to help stabilize the camera. In my opinion, it's a little bit overkill, but it is cool that all of that is there. And on top of that, I picked up this newer arm that I screwed into the case. This allows me to attach a Samsung T7 hard drive. With this hard drive, I can capture video directly into the drive, speeding up my workflow tremendously. I can just unplug this drive, plug it into my computer, and access all my files instead of having to airdrop them or transfer them from the phone. This is something that is a little bit more advanced. This isn't going to apply to everyone, but in my opinion, it's an absolute game changer. And with the UI in the iPhone, you just plug the hard drive in and it automatically knows the drive is there and will record all your log footage directly to it. So in my opinion, attaching this to your case if you want to get cinematic results with your iPhone is kind of a no-brainer, but there is a cost involved, so I understand it's not for everyone. So once I had this rig set up, the next step was to go into my settings and just make sure that everything was dialed in. Now in my settings, I went to camera, I went to record, I made sure that was set to 24 frames per second at 4K. Now, based on what I've read on Reddit, there are some debates about 24 versus 30. Some people say 30 looks better and 24 is choppy. I just went with my tried and true of 24, and I also went into record video and I scrolled down in my settings and I made sure that lock white balance was selected. This is important because when I'm recording a clip, I want to make sure that my white balance stays constant throughout. I don't want it changing. So that's the main setting that you want to select. Now, from there, I had the ability to easily attach a tripod mount to the bottom of this case and begin recording myself and figuring out how to make the most out of this cinema rig on my iPhone. And the first thing that I realized is basically with the log footage from this iPhone, all of the basics of video apply kind of tenfold. I found that the best results from the iPhone when I was using it with this log picture profile and trying to emulate a cinema look worked the best when I was in ideal lighting situations. And these limitations with lighting become extremely obvious when you try to color grade and edit this log footage. One of the main benefits to capturing your video in log is how editable and customizable the video footage is. Now, if you have a scenario where your lighting conditions are less than ideal, the log footage is atrocious. It's extremely hard to work with. You're not going to get the desired result, but if you find yourself in a situation where everything is balanced, your lighting is good, you have extreme control over the video footage. Now, I did a lot of experimenting with editing the log footage from the iPhone, and I found that everyone might be a little bit different in their workflow. For me, I prefer to use a program like Dehancer and selecting one of the Apple picture profiles that come with the program and then editing my footage using that program. But if you're someone who uses Premiere Pro or you use Final Cut or even DaVinci Resolve, you could benefit from one, manually editing your log footage to get it to emulate Rec 709, or you could apply Apple's Rec 709 conversion LUT, which is available on their website. It took me a lot of Google searching to find this Rec 709 conversion, but it is out there. I'll go ahead and link that in the description for you. It just takes you to the Apple development page so you can find it easier. But regardless of how you decide to go about editing this footage, everyone is going to be different. Like I said, the results are undeniable. With the ability to capture log video with your iPhone, you now have video footage that you can easily customize and do so much more to. So before I give my final thoughts on this entire experiment, I briefly want to thank today's sponsor, Squarespace. Now, one of the coolest projects I've made this year is actually a free course on my website, evanranf.com, where I break down how to create basic Instagram Reels for photographers. It's called the Starting Point to Instagram Reels for Photographers, and with this cinema setup, I now have the ability to capture even higher quality behind the scenes video to incorporate into my social media. And this free course is at nearly 1,000 signups, and it would not be possible for me to help photographers like this without Squarespace. Squarespace allows me to host my website, evanranf.com, and do cool things like host my free preset as well as this free course. And on top of that, Squarespace allows me to sell things like my photo book as well as my presets. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't have any web design experience. I don't know how to build a website. That is what I love most about Squarespace. Squarespace gives creators like you and me the ability to create a beautiful website using their Fluid Engine technology to easily move elements of our site around our page and give us a custom look with no web design experience or little effort. It took me about a day to build my original website, evanranf.com, and over the years I've slowly added things to that site to build it into the site that it is today. And if you want help building out your website, there are a number of videos on this YouTube channel where I break down how to create an email list, how to create automations, how to build the exact site that I use. I'll link all those in the description down below. So all you got to do is go to squarespace.com/evanranf, start a free trial, follow one of those tutorials down below, and just see how easy to use Squarespace is. And when you're ready to sign up, you can use code evanranf to save 10% at checkout. That's squarespace.com/evanranf to start a free trial. And when it's time to sign up and you want to save some money, you can use code evanranf to save 10% at checkout. Big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. So all in all, I would say that this cinema rig on the iPhone was actually a successful experiment, which surprised me. Typically, I am skeptical of any marketing material. You know, when Apple says this phone is a cinema camera in your pocket, immediately red flags go off in my head, but this camera definitely delivered. I was very impressed by the video I was able to create with this, and it's a very exciting step in the right direction for just smartphone creativity in general. It's really cool to know that when I started my creative career 10 years ago, this wasn't an option. And now people who are in high school or college, like I was, have the ability to really get started with creativity with something that is accessible to everyone. So I think that is a big plus and something that makes this really cool. And when you add in the features like having an external hard drive that you can easily plug into your computer to access your files, having an ND filter that easily attaches to the phone, so you can use apps like the Blackmagic camera or the upcoming Final Cut camera, which will give you a lot of manual controls. Having that ND filter will allow you to dictate your settings more professionally and make sure your shutter angle is on point. all of that is just very exciting, and I'm really interested to see what the next iteration of the iPhone can do, because there are obvious limitations with the log footage in the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Like I mentioned, when it comes to lighting and color grading, you do have to really pay attention to the scenario you put this phone into. It's not going to be perfect. You're not going to be able to get away with the same things you could get away with, let's say, on a Canon or a Nikon or a Lumix camera, but this is a very good start, and it's a great start especially for beginners or someone who is just getting into video, or someone like me who just doesn't want to carry our camera around with them all the time but still get stellar results. So that is my experience turning my iPhone into a cinema camera. Let me know your experience if you tried this out in the comments, and I'm excited to see what I can make with this in the future. If you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you are not yet, and I'll see y'all in the next one.